it's usually not so much about the actual athletics. It's usually portrayed in such a way that's very sexual, very promiscuous. It's a lot of skin showing, things like that. It's all about the beauty of the actual person and less about the
As really
actual
buff
athletic
and fit,
ability.
and they only focus on their bodies, not on their skills or talents during the sport.
They should just be boobs and butt and sometimes good at sports. But that's kind of unrealistic.
Obviously, the swimsuit issue of Sports Illustrated, some of the features can kind of draw more on the sex appeal than the athletic ability. But
in hindsight, they do not get as much publicity as male sports do.
A lot of clothes and shows all like their stomachs and super strong, which is not always the best
I
portrayal
look
of
back
everyone.
years when I was much younger, everything was more like the guys. So I like the fact that women's uniforms and athletic wear today is more reflective of feminine taste.
Obviously, women's volleyball uniforms are really tight and short spandex and everything, and then
pants tend to be a little tighter depending on the baseball player. They might like them loose.
Yes,
They
the
might like
woman's
them
always
tight.
worn the skirt, and that's a long-standing tradition. But on the golf course, a woman is expected to wear pants or capris,
So
no
a lot of
skirts
the times
on the golf
they
course
tend
like
to
in
be
the
tighter and
LPGA.
feel a little bit more. For example, softball versus baseball.
you know, when you
Guys
think of somebody throwing a shot put, that is raw strength. That is, you know, I think would meet
When the
definition
women
of
who
push.
participate in them are potentially as physically fit or more physically fit than some of the men who participate.
Male dominated for all those years, that as females broke into them, they may have felt pressure to take on very male,
so I don't really know what exactly
behaviors.
makes it a butch sport. I just know there's a lot of stereotypes about it, and like a certain type of girl can only play that
obsessed with
sport.
finding a way of how in the world a female could beat out a
I
male.
think some sports are considered butch sports based on their uniforms.
It's hard because you're born with the DNA or the genetics that you have, and many times genetics are a factor in athletic performance.
It's sad but necessary. I think that people get checked out to make sure they're playing by the
Media's
rules.
looking for scandal.
Family or parenting responsibilities or being a spouse. And I do think that that's a difference between men and women athletes in how they're handled.
Their
The men,
looks
they-
and most of the time like their diet and how you can look like an athlete like that, and it's never really about the sport itself.
How to get a body like an woman athlete, dieting, daily
The
life.
writer or producer is trying to get you to think of the emotional side of
Olympics is a big time for positive exposure in women's sports.
downtime in men's sports, like transitioning from seasons during championship time.
Important games, not really during regular season, in my views, because I never really see WNBA games on TV.
During like championships or
The
final.
media does not really portray women athletes at all. The only time you see women athletes is when something big has happened, a big accomplishment, or a big disappointment.
But during the Olympics, because other than that, you have to catch it like during a random time on a random ESPN station or some local network.
When
or
it
something
is,
like
I've
that.
noticed that it's on weeknights, so it's less on the weekends, usually on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, nights where people tend to be a little bit more busy and have less time to focus on spending their free time.
I think the mainstream media does not give women's athletics the attention it deserves.